1. e4, Robert James Fischer opens with his trusty king's pawn, immediately steering the game towards the open, tactical battles where his legendary precision and calculation shine brightest. 1. c5, the veteran Samuel Reshevsky, a former child prodigy himself, responds with the Sicilian defense. He is not afraid to enter a complex fight, creating an imbalanced position from the start to challenge the young American star. 2. nf3, Fischer continues with the most natural and popular developing move, bringing his knight into the game to control the center and prepare for the main theoretical lines. 2. nc6, Reshevsky develops his queenside knight, controlling the center and maintaining flexibility. This move keeps options open for various Sicilian setups, including the accelerated dragon. 3. d4, the thematic central strike. Fischer blasts open the position, aiming to leverage his lead in development and create immediate tactical opportunities against Black's solid but less developed setup. 3. cxd4, the obligatory exchange in the Sicilian. Reshevsky cedes central space temporarily in exchange for a long-term structural advantage with his central pawn majority on the queenside. For nxd4, the white knight occupies its ideal central post on d4. From this commanding square, it exerts a powerful influence across the entire board and serves as the pivot for white's operations. For g6, Reshevsky commits to the accelerated dragon. By preparing to fianchetto his bishop without first playing d6, he aims for a more rapid and flexible development, hoping to achieve the typical dragon setup with a gain of tempo. 5. nc3, a logical developing move. Fischer brings another knight into the game, reinforces his control of the center, and prepares to challenge Black's fianchetto setup head-on. 5. bg7, the dragon bishop arrives. This powerful piece is the heart of Black's strategy, slicing across the long diagonal and creating immense long-term pressure on White's queenside and center. 6. b3, a key move in the anti-dragon systems. Fischer develops his bishop to a powerful square where it supports the d4 knight and prepares for a potential kingside attack, often involving the Yugoslav attack pawnstorm. 6. nf6, Reshevsky develops his final minor piece, challenging White's central control and preparing to castle his king to safety. The opening battle lines are now clearly drawn. 7. b2, Fischer chooses a solid and classical development for his bishop. This move prepares for castling and keeps his options open, avoiding an immediate commitment to the most aggressive attacking plans. 7. Reshevsky quickly castles his king, removing it from the center before the inevitable middle game storm begins. His development is now harmonious and complete. 8. f4, Fischer signals his aggressive intentions. This powerful pawn thrust seizes more space, prepares to challenge Black's central control, and lays the groundwork for a formidable kingside attack. 8. d6, a necessary and solid response. Reshevsky reinforces his center, limits the scope of the white bishop, and prepares to meet the coming white aggression with a solid defensive wall. 9. nb3, a typical and very strong knight maneuver. Fischer moves his knight away from the center to avoid exchanges, while also preparing it to support a queenside expansion or join the kingside attack. 9. b6, Reshevsky develops his bishop to an active square, completing his development and putting more pressure on the central d5 square, preparing for a potential pawn break. 10. g4, the gauntlet is thrown. Fischer launches a direct and brutal pawnstorm against the Black King's fortress. This is a declaration of war, initiating a thrilling race to see whose attack will land first. 10. d5, the classic counterstrike. Reshevsky responds to the flank attack by blasting open the center, a principled and courageous decision aimed at punishing White's aggressive expansion. 11. f5, Fischer presses on relentlessly, attacking the bishop and tearing open more lines on the kingside. He is committed to his attack and is willing to accept the risks of an open center. 11. bc8, the bishop is forced into a passive retreat, a clear sign that White's aggression is already posing serious problems for the defense. 12. exd5, Fischer captures, opening the e-file and creating a passed d-pawn. The position has exploded into a chaotic tactical melee where precise calculation is paramount. 12. nb4, Reshevsky's knight leaps to a fantastic outpost, attacking the d5 pawn and creating immediate counterthreats against White's center.
The battle is raging on all fronts. 13. Bf3, a crucial defensive and attacking move.
Fischer develops his bishop to the long diagonal, reinforcing his d-pawn and preparing to join the assault on the weakened black king side. 13. Gxf5, Reshevsky is forced to capture, shattering his own kingside pawn structure but also opening the g-file for his rooks, creating counterattacking chances against the future white king. 14. A3, an excellent in-between move. Before dealing with the f5 pawn, Fischer kicks the dangerous knight, forcing it to a less active square and seizing the initiative. 14. Fxg4, black has no choice but to capture the pawn, but this allows Fischer's powerful bishop to enter the game with decisive effect. 15. Bg2, the bishop lands on its perfect square, controlling the long diagonal and now eyeing the fatally weakened light squares around the black king. 15. Na6, the black knight is driven back to the edge of the board, a sad retreat after its brief moment of glory. It is now a bystander to the main battle. 16. Qd3, Fischer develops his queen to a central and aggressive square, connecting his rooks and preparing to castle queenside, which will unleash his rooks against the black king. 16. E6, a desperate but logical attempt by Reshevsky to open more lines in the center. He must create counterplay against the white king before his own is overwhelmed. 17. Fischer fearlessly castles into the open files, committing his king to the queenside.
The game is now a pure race of attacks on opposite wings, a thrilling spectacle of all-out aggression.
17. Nxd5, Reshevsky trades a pair of knights, hoping to relieve some of the defensive pressure.
However, this also removes a key defender of his kingside. 18. H3, a brilliant pawn sacrifice.
Fischer offers another pawn simply to open the h-file, adding a third attacking avenue for his rooks and queen. A truly inspired attacking concept. 18. G3, Reshevsky accepts the challenge, but this pawn on G3, while a nuisance, will also become a permanent target and a weakness in his own camp.
19. Rhg1, the first rook swings into position, seizing the open g-file and adding immense pressure to the pinned g-pawn. The white attack is building to a crescendo.
19. Qd6, Reshevsky tries to create counterplay by activating his queen, but his pieces lack coordination, and he is struggling to contain the multitude of threats. 20. Bxd5, Fischer eliminates a key central pawn and opens the d-file, further exposing the black position to his invading forces.
The strategic victory is now clear.
20. Exd5, the recapture is forced, but now the d-file is a highway for the white pieces to create new and decisive threats against the beleaguered black army. 21. Nxd5, the knight lands on the powerful d5 outpost with devastating effect. From here, it controls the entire board and participates directly in the attack on the king. 21. Kh8, a necessary king move to escape any immediate checks on the g-file, but it is a sad admission of the extreme danger black is in. 22. Bf4, the bishop joins the attack, putting pressure on the black queen and further restricting the movement of black's pieces. Every white piece is now in the assault. 22. Qg6, Reshevsky is forced to place his queen on a square where it can be traded, hoping to alleviate the pressure. However, Fischer has no intention of simplifying. 23. Qd2, a masterful queen retreat. Fischer avoids the trade and prepares to swing his queen over to the kingside for the final, decisive blow. 23. Bxh3, Reshevsky grabs a pawn, a desperate act in a lost position. This allows white's rook to enter the attack with even greater force. 24. Rxg3, the rook captures the pawn and lands on a monstrous attacking square, dominating the g-file and creating unstoppable threats against the black king. 24. Bg4, a last-ditch effort to block the attack, but this only serves as a target and further clogs up black's defensive lines. 25. Rh1, the final piece joins the fray. The rook on h1 now controls the second open file, and the attack is completely overwhelming.
The end is very near.
25. F8, Reshevsky brings his final piece to the defense, but it is far too little, too late.
The white attacking machine is unstoppable.
26. Na3, a beautiful knight maneuver that attacks the bishop and prepares to leap to a more decisive attacking square.
Fischer's precision in the attack is relentless.
26, QE4, a final, desperate attempt at counterplay, creating a threat against the white rook.
However, this move walks into a stunning and decisive combination.
27, QH2, the queen swings to the h-file, creating a deadly battery with the rook. This move sets up the final, brilliant sacrifice that will end the game. 27, B6, the only move to defend against the immediate mate, but it is a futile gesture against the coming storm. The position is completely lost. 28, RxG7, the thunderbolt. A spectacular rook sacrifice that shatters the last remnants of the Black King's defense. A brilliant and decisive combination. 28, KXG7, the king is forced to capture, but it is now completely exposed and caught in a deadly mating net with no hope of escape. 29, QH6+, the queen delivers a check, forcing the king onto a square where it will be subjected to the final, unstoppable assault from the rest of the white pieces. 29, KG8, the only legal move, but the king is now trapped on the back rank, a helpless target for the final, brutal checkmate. 30, RG1+, the final rook arrives with a check, forcing black to give up his queen to delay the inevitable mate for just one move. 30, QG6, the only move to block the check, but this desperate queen sacrifice only serves to highlight the complete hopelessness of black's position. 31, RxG6+, the rook captures the queen with check, and the smoke clears to reveal a completely winning endgame for white. The attack continues even without the queens. 31, FXG6, the recapture is forced, but this leaves the black king fatally exposed to white's remaining pieces, which are poised to deliver the final blow. 32, ND4, the knight leaps into a new attacking square, continuing the relentless pressure and preparing to coordinate with the bishop for the final hunt. 32, Rad8, a futile attempt to bring a rook to the defense, but the white pieces are too active and too well coordinated. 33, B5, the bishop lands on a devastating square, cutting off the king's escape and creating new, unstoppable threats. The coordination of white's pieces is perfect. 33, RD7, a desperate move to block the bishop's path, but this allows another one of white's pieces to join the attack with decisive effect. 34, Next 6, a simple but crushing capture that removes a key defender and further shatters black's defensive coordination. The end is now a matter of moves. 34, Rex 6, the recapture is forced, but it allows white's final attacking piece, the knight on b3, to join the party with game-ending threats. 35, Ing4, the knight arrives on a killer square, creating an unstoppable mating threat. Fischer's execution of the final attack is a model of precision and power. 35, RF7, a desperate move to create an escape square for the king, but Fischer has calculated everything to perfection and has the final blow ready. 36, QG5, the queen calmly improves its position, preparing to deliver the final, decisive checks that will force resignation. 36, RF1+, a last, desperate spite check. It does nothing to alter the outcome but is a final cry of defiance in a completely lost position. 37, KD2, the white king calmly steps out of check. It is perfectly safe, while its black counterpart is about to be checkmated. 37, H5, a final pawn move to prevent an immediate mate, but it walks directly into another, more powerful attack from the white queen. 38, QD8+, the final, decisive check. This move forces a sequence that leads to a quick checkmate or a massive loss of material. Seeing no defense, Samuel Reshevsky resigns.